After a brief introduction of plasma physics, today we are going to define plasma in a concrete manner. Although in this lecture I will define plasma only in qualitative way, and after that in next lecture I would like to define this very important system plasma in a quantitative way. So, we have learned in the introductory lecture that plasma is the fourth state of matter. You know, the other three states of matter are solids, liquids, and gases. Actually, I have told you that the basic difference between solids, liquids, and gases lies in the difference between the strength of bonds that hold their constituent particles together. The equilibrium between the particles' thermal energy and the interparticle binding forces determines the state of our system. That is, the system will be either in solid state or liquid state or in a gaseous state. This depends upon the average kinetic energy and the average kinetic energy per particle of the system. We know that whenever a solid is heated, it transforms into liquid. When liquid is heated, it transforms into gas, and when gaseous system is heated to a very large temperature, then the substance changes into plasma state. This is a general principle, but we will understand this very fact in a concrete manner. For this, see this graph I have shown here. First of all, see if our matter is in solid state. Say this is solid, and we heat this solid, its temperature rises almost linearly. So this graph shows that when heat is supplied to the solid, we have taken the heat supplied to the system on this x-axis, say, and the rise in temperature on y-axis. So see the graph. When solid is heated, its temperature rises almost linearly up to a certain temperature. In fact, that very temperature is called melting point of the solid. And in this process, you supply the heat amount Q, and after attaining the temperature of melting point, the solid begins to melt into liquid. And when melting starts, temperature becomes fixed. In that process, the amount of heat given to the system is known as latent heat of fusion. I have written here latent heat, but this is latent heat of fusion. And when the complete solid is transformed into liquid, after that, again temperature of the liquid rises almost linearly up to a particular temperature at a particular pressure. That very temperature is called boiling point of the liquid. Remember, this transition of phase, that is conversion of solid into liquid, takes place at a particular temperature and particular pressure. We may fix the pressure at any value. Let us say we fix it at 1 atm, but you may fix it at another temperature, but another pressure. But when pressure will be different, then a melting point and boiling point will get changed. So for a given pressure, the solid has a particular melting point and liquid has a particular boiling point. So and when the liquid attains the temperature of its boiling point, then again temperature becomes constant. Heat given to that in that process is actually latent heat of vaporization. And after that, if heat is supplied to the system, then the liquid changes into gaseous phase. So, giving a certain amount of heat to the solid, it will transform into liquid, and that liquid will transform into gas. And when gas is heated, it will be transformed into plasma. But how? How we can say that it will transform into plasma? Let us see it in some detail. Actually, we have seen the transformation of solid into liquid is a phase transition because it takes place at a particular temperature and pressure. And you know, phase transition always occurs at a particular pressure and temperature. So, transformation of solid into liquid. Solid into liquid. Takes place at a particular temperature and pressure. And similarly, transformation of liquid into vapor or gas, it also takes place at a given T and given P. So these two processes are phase transition. These are phase transition. Because we know phase transition takes place at a given pressure and temperature. But transformation of gaseous state into plasma state is not a phase transition. Actually, what happens in this case? When a gas is heated, the molecular gas is dissociated into atomic gas. So, molecular gas becomes atomic gas. And when this atomic gas is heated, then the atoms collide with one another, and during this collision, the valence electrons are knocked out from the atoms, not from all the atoms, but it may be some atoms from which the valence electrons are detached. So, if we consider M as a symbol for a neutral atom, M is neutral atom, then due to collision, this becomes a positive ion, M plus, and an electron is ejected from it. And in this process, there may be two things. The gas may be partially ionized. The gas may be partially ionized, or it may be fully ionized. fully ionized. If the gas is partially ionized, what will be its constituents? It will be constituted from positive ions plus electrons and plus neutral atoms. But in case of fully ionized gas, there will be no neutral atom, only it will contain positive ions plus electrons. Normally, this ionized gas people say is plasma, but this will be a mistake. We cannot call all ionized gas to be plasma, but an ionized gas is called a plasma only when certain conditions or certain criteria are fulfilled by the ionized gas. In that condition, we can say the ionized gas as plasma. Otherwise, an ionized gas will not call plasma. What are those conditions or criteria? We will now understand. So, the concrete definition of plasma will be what? So, I would like to write down here for your convenience the concrete definition of plasma. So, never think that all ionized gas qualify to be plasma, but some of the ionized gas will qualify to be plasma if certain criteria will be fulfilled by such gases. So, let us see what will be the concrete definition of plasma state. So, all ionized gases do not qualify to be called plasma. All ionized gases do not qualify to be called plasma. Actually, some amount of ionization is almost always found in a gas. A plasma is a quasi-neutral gas of charged and neutral particles which exhibits collective behavior. These are the two remarkable criteria or conditions for an ionized gas to be plasma. So you have understand that you can't say all ionized gas to be plasma. Actually, some amount of ionization is always present in gaseous state. We can call an ionized gas plasma only when it will qualify two criteria or two conditions. That is, the gas should be quasi-neutral and it must show collective behavior. But what does these two conditions mean? Quasi neutrality and collective behavior. What we understand from these two conditions? We will learn about it now. Actually, these two terms we will explain in two ways. As I have told you earlier, that in this lecture I am going to give only a qualitative description of definition of plasma, not a quantitative definition. So I would like to explain these two terms only in qualitative manner, not in quantitative manner. In another lecture, we will discuss device screening length or screening radius or screening distance or device sphere or device potential. In that case, you will understand these two criteria in a quantitative manner. By the mathematical expression, we will explain these two terms. But here, what we understand by quasi-neutrality. Quasi-neutrality. Actually, plasma is electrically conducting by virtue of its charged particles. As you have known that plasma contains positively charged ions and negatively charged electrons. These are charged particles of a plasma. And by virtue of these charged particles, plasma is electrically conducting. Electric current can flow through this. But at the same time, a bulk volume of plasma is electrically neutral. It means the total charge of any bulk volume of plasma is always zero. And so, in this condition, the plasma is not called neutral, not called conducting, but it is called quasi-neutral. It means the plasma's macroscopic volume is neutral, electrically neutral, and that is so it is called quasi-neutral. So, if we consider, let us suppose any volume of plasma, let us say this is a volume V of a plasma medium, and of this volume, if we will calculate the total charge in this volume, that will be 0. And if it is 0, but here we know both positive and negative charges are present in this volume, but the total amount of charge is 0, or you may say algebraic sum of total charges is 0. And so this is the meaning of quasi-neutrality. So we say that plasma is electrically conducting by virtue of its charged particles, but electrically neutral because the total volumetric charge of plasma is 0. So quasi-neutrality means plasma is electrically conducting. Electrically conducting because of its charged particles. Charged particles. But total charge of a macroscopic volume is 0. So it is called quasi-neutral. Let us say that if Ne is equal to number of electrons in unit volume of plasma, and Ni, this is number of positive ions in unit volume of plasma. QE, or you may say minus QE, this is charge of an electron, and Qi, charge of an ion. We consider it. Then when you say that the total charge of a macroscopic volume is 0, let us say the unit volume is the macroscopic volume, then definitely we have Qi into Ni plus minus QE into Ne equal to 0. And if we consider that Qi is equal to mod of minus Qi, it means charge of ion is equal to charge of electron in magnitude but opposite in sign, then in that condition this Ni will be equal to Ne. That is, this is also known as number density or particle density. In that condition, number of electrons per unit volume of plasma and number of ions per unit volume of plasma will be same. But it is only when the charge of ion is equal to charge of electron. In that condition, this condition will hold. Actually, the lighter charge, that is electrons, are the major contributor of electric current, and the heavier ions primarily serve to neutralize the plasma. So plasma is called quasi-neutral. So what is the purpose or work of electron? Electrons, these are major contributor of conduction or current. Actually, mobility of electron will be large due to its smaller mass, and so it is the major contributor of electric current. And on the other hand, these ions serve to maintain charge neutrality. And this is the reason plasma is said to be quasi-neutral. because due to the larger mobility of electric current flows, but as the total charge of ions and total charge of electrons in a macroscopic volume cancel one another, total charge is zero, so the plasma is called quasi-neutral. I hope you have understand what the term quasi-neutrality means, and it is essential condition for an ionized gas to be called plasma, that it should be quasi-neutral. We will, as I have told you, we will understand this quasi-neutrality in a quantitative way in terms of device screening length or screening radius, or you may say the device shielding distance, and in the next lecture. Now, the another criteria for an ionized gas to be called a plasma is collective behavior. So, what we understand by collective behavior, now we will discuss it. Collective behavior. Actually, if in one sentence we want to define collective behavior, or we want to know the meaning of collective behavior, you can say that if the electromagnetic force dominates over the hydrodynamics, or dominates over the force due to collision, then we say that the system shows or exhibits collective behavior. Actually, in case of plasma, as charged particles appear, and those charged particles are in motion. So, in case of plasma, we know that there are three types of species: positive ions, negative electrons, and neutral atoms. Neutral atoms. And these species are in random motion. And we know due to motion of charged particle, that is ions and electrons, motion of ions and electrons, this will produce electromagnetic field. Electromagnetic field. How? Actually, due to motion of these charged particles, there is a local concentration of positive and negative charges. And due to this local concentration, electric field is generated or produced. Electric field due to local concentration of positive and negative charges. On the other hand, since the charges are in motion, so you know the moving charge is equivalent to an electric current, and electric current produces magnetic field. So moving charge produces magnetic field, and these fields, that is electric field E and magnetic field B, affect the motion of the charged particles. And so the charged particles in a plasma exhibits a variety of motion, and in this case there are two types of forces acting on the system, and the forces or interactions will be what? Forces will be, number one, electromagnetic forces. Electromagnetic forces. and number 2, force due to collision. When the particles collide with one another, impulsive force acts, but you know the force due to collision is a local force because its force will be effective only when the charged particles are in contact of one another, that is the moment when they collide. But we know electromagnetic forces are a long range force. Electromagnetic forces are long range forces. Why? We know if F is electromagnetic force, then it is inversely proportional to R square. And so when R will tend to infinity, then F will tend to 0. So we cannot take F to be 0 at any finite point. Hence, this force will act on the charged particles up to a very large distance. Particularly in case of collision-less plasma, the so-called collision-less plasma. Collision-less plasma. That is the plasma in case of which collision is negligible. So in collision-less plasma, electromagnetic force dominates on the force of collision. And this is the criteria for collective behavior. If the electromagnetic force will dominate over the force due to collision, then we say that the system will exhibit collective behavior. So actually what this collective behavior means, for your convenience, I am just writing the important fact so that you will understand the meaning or criteria of collective behavior. So collective behavior by we mean motion that depend not only on local conditions, but on the state of plasma in a remote region. In remote regions as well, not only on local condition but the condition in remote too. And Due to this collective behavior, a plasma does not tend to conform the external influence, and rather it is often behaves as if it had a mind of its own. I am just writing it for your convenience that because of collective behavior, because of collective behavior, a plasma does not tend to conform to external influences. Rather, it often behaves as if it had a mind of its own. So I hope you have understand in a qualitative way these two criteria, that is collective behavior and quasi-neutrality, which are essential for an ionized gas to be called a plasma. And as I have told you, in next lecture we will discuss these two criteria in a quantitative way in terms of device screening radius or screening distance or length.